Good morning, Dan and Amy. I'm trying to get a couple more brackets filled out here before the games this morning.
3 hours, 3.5 hours?
Yeah, T-minus. Best weekend in sports every year begins in just a couple of hours, so get ready.
Have you made any changes, though?
No.
Even now that Barack Obama has weighed in, he's filled out a bracket. And
Barack Obama's gone. Let it go.
Oh, no, he's still prevalent. He released his bracket and has North Carolina winning it all.
Couldn't be less interested. Here's a question for you prospectively. Let's look not at our future in the rearview mirror. Let's look at it prospectively. How about that?
That's why the rearview mirror is small compared to the windshield.
Oh, boy. Oh, nice.
Because they don't want you to look back. Like that.
April 4th is a local election, municipal elections, low turnout elections. You going to vote? Or are you going to let's continue to allow your home equity to be decimated by the layers of local units of government that lord over you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Are you paying attention? Are you going to vote in the April 4th election, which is just a few weeks away? There's some important hotly contested mayoral races.
Mm-hmm.
Aurora has one. Tom Weisner, the outgoing mayor, not running for re-election. And you've got a tight race between Richard Irvin, a longtime city council member, and Rick Guzman, who's one of Weisner's functionaries.
So who are we voting for in that one?
I would recommend Richard Irvin. He was an attorney as well. And you've got Orland Park, which we've talked about previously. This is where you've got Dan McLaughlin, who's been there for 2 decades.
And didn't he vote for his increase in salary 3 times of what he was currently making?
Well, the real increase is what he and the city council voted for in October of last year, which is to increase the mayor's salary for Orland Park from $40,000 to $150,000 per year for the express purpose of McLaughlin getting one more term, and at which point then his pension would go from $30,000 a year to $110,000 a year. So let's fourfold increase the salary so we can fourfold increase the pension for the next 20 to 30 years of his life. That turns out to be obviously a 7-figure increase in terms of, a 7-figure commitment present value for his pension in addition to the $150,000 salary for the mayor. Where does that rank? Got curious. $150,000 for the mayor's office in Orland Park. Mid-sized commuter suburb, right? Southwest corner of Cook County. Yeah. Pays more, that salary, that pays more than the mayor of Madrid, Moscow, Rome, Paris, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Portland, St. Louis, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Sacramento, Louisville, Minneapolis, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. All of those mayors of those international cities, foreign and domestic, make less than what they have proposed the mayor of Orland Park make. Does that seem right to you? You going to do anything about it?
And who are we supporting in Orland Park?
Keith Pekow is challenging. He's a local businessman, of course. He lives in Orland Park, challenging Dan McLaughlin.
And if he's elected, will he keep the salary at $40,000 or $30,000?
It was passed by the village council, so it would have to be unwound, but he is committed to unwinding it and not taking it. He is also not in line for a 6-figure pension because he's not been a politician.
Right.
Not been in government. He's been an entrepreneurial capitalist running a landscaping company.
But, I mean, think about it. Cleveland, Las Vegas. They make less than he does.
Yeah, that's right. And in addition to that, what's happened in Orland Park over the last decade, the village and library's property tax levy increased by 55%. So, and we've done the analysis of Orland Park property values and what's happened over the last decade and where it's trending if you look forward to 2013. And it's trending where you're going to pay over that period of time 2/3 of your home value in property taxes as your home value is decimated by property tax increases, even if it just stayed at the current level, much less continued increases from local units of government. And, oh, by the way, hundreds of millions of dollars in debt has piled up, which also imposes a cost on Orland Park residents because that debt is not paid down by the debt fairy. It's paid down by taxpayers. And, of course, the response to this I saw from McLaughlin's crew in Orland Park is to call our stories in South Cook News, southcooknews.com.
Oh, guess what? Fake news, right?
Fake news. Yeah. Right, because here's the deal. Just understand something about this term that's being thrown about. Fake news for the left has replaced racist.
Oh.
It's a pejorative to attack your opponent when you can't address the underlying substance of the matter. So, I disagree with you, but I can't express myself on point, so I call you a racist. I disagree with what you're saying, what you're reporting, what has been reported to state agencies, what is information we've got from the village itself, so I say it's fake news. Okay, well, the Orland Park residents will decide. It's their call. Related story. Glen Ellen. I mean, let's, circle the infield. We've done Algonquin Township and the highway department there and the primary. Talked about Orland Park. Talked about New Trier. Let's talk about Glen Ellen. Glen Ellen superintendent, District 41 superintendent there, Paul Gordon. He's supporting a $24 million referendum that's on the ballot on April 4th for Glen Ellen School District 41 residents. He makes $300,000 a year as a superintendent of 41. And he also decided to get active in the process. He has contributed to a local activist group pushing the referendum. Fine. He also gave the group thousands of parent emails. He personally decided to give the pro-referendum group access to the emails of parents with kids in the school district.
Ooh, that...
What about that? He said there was, quote, no malicious intent, and that he wouldn't do it again. It's the old, I didn't do anything wrong.
Abusing their privacy.
It's I didn't do anything wrong, but I won't do it again.
Yeah. Do it now, ask for forgiveness later.
It's not just it's not just about abusing privacy. It's putting your finger on the scale as the superintendent. So, the Glen Ellen District 41 residents, the state legislators there, State Representative Peter Breen, State Senator Chris Nybo, anybody awake out there? You want to weigh in on this? Also, by the way, what's happening in Glen Ellen District 41? Asking taxpayers for approval of a $24 million referendum. Local property tax spending by the district since 1987, so over the last 30 years, has grown 8 times the rate of student enrollment growth. Enrollment is 32% higher in 41 than it was in 1987. Property taxes are 253% higher than they were in 1987. Also, teachers pay real dollars, inflation adjusted, 42% more. That's according to the Illinois State Board of Education. So, for those who want to just dismiss this as fake news. So, maybe that's something for consideration. If you decide that you live in Glen Ellen District 41, you want to pay attention, you want to do something about it, you want to participate in the April 4th election. Anybody want to do that? Or are you just going to decide you're just waiting for your time to bolt and you've given up? You going to revolt or are you going to bolt? This is the operative question in Illinois at present. Let's go to Harry in Hawthorne Woods. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
Morning. What I want to say is, you're talking about the issue of all these politicians screwing everything up and lining their pockets and the chronic corruption that takes place. Not enough is said that the only way this is going to stop is if the concept of a career politician goes away. Unless and until that happens, this cycle is just going to continue ad nauseum because this is all it's done all throughout history, and it's what it's going to continue to do because nothing else is going to stop it. I would argue for a one term on all political offices, overlapped by like 6 months from somebody else coming in, give them a generous stipend, but stop all of this ridiculous pension stuff and benefits, ad hoc, post their service.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
it's never going to change.
What about just taking the money out of it, making what Texas does with state legislators, for example, making the job salary a stipend? It's a few grand a year to cover expenses, and so you don't have the financial incentive to manipulate the system the way, for example, Dan McLaughlin is trying to do in Orland Park to make yourself a multimillionaire at other people's expense. Just take the money out of it. That's the whole thing.
That's the same kind of thing. I think it'd be, you want to get good people in there. You want to get people that care.
Right.
So I say give a generous stipend for that. Hold their job for them, but when they're done with their term, you get to go back to your job. That's it. You know? Like Washington, they wanted him to be king. He said, "Have I not done enough for my country?" He said, "We didn't fight this war to, go into another monarchy."
Yeah, exactly right.
The other thing, Lord Acton famously said,
power corrupts.
And absolute power corrupts, absolutely. But, I think that's an error in causation. The problem is these positions of power attract these solipsistic sociopaths who need power, All
right.
You got in there for the most part.
Very good. You got Lord Acton, you got George Washington, and you got a great alliterative solipsistic sociopath. Now that's a lot in a phone call, Harry from Hawthorne Woods. Well done. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. That deserves a bit of a smattering of applause, which you're providing.
Yes, thank you.
Raul in Waukegan.
Hey, Dan and Amy. I want to just thank you for the last segment with the Urbana mayor on the sanctuary cities. I wish you would have a segment like that with our mayoral candidate up here in Waukegan, Lisa May, because it looks like that's the way Waukegan is going. And you were asking about, whether you're going to take place in this April election. Well, I am, but it's kind of voting for the lesser of two evils because I got Democrats on the ticket and nobody else to choose from.
Yeah.
So in my case, what do I do? Because it's one or the other, and I'm getting the same.
All right, Raul, I've got an answer for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Both, right?
Raul for mayor in 2021.
Woo! Yeah, baby.
We just launched it here.
I like it.
All right. All right. You let us.
Like it.
You go file your paperwork with the State Board of Elections, and then we'll talk.
Hey, Dan, you going to finance that?
Oh, there you
go. Hey,
I
like to help out people that are fellow travelers. So, Raul, we can talk. How about that?
All right. I like it.
All right. There we go. This is candidate recruitment. Thanks for the call, Raul. Appreciate it. Good luck up there. Lucas in Park Ridge.
Hey, Dan and Amy, I'll be voting in the April 4th election because I'll be voting for myself.
No, there you go.
For mayor of Park Ridge.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You're running for mayor of Park Ridge to get a 6-figure pension for yourself?
Yeah, you know what? It's all about the money for me.
He's honest.
It's funny you bring that up because we get a $1,000 stipend, and I've actually pledged to donate that amount towards certain programs because I want to let people know I'm not a politician. I've never held political office, and so it's important for people to know that I am doing this for absolutely the right reasons. And the right reasons are to finally make significant improvements to Park Ridge because so far, my opponent, he's held 14 years of elected positions in Park Ridge and the other taxing bodies. And, for people like that, nothing gets done. All that happens is that they get elected again because that's their motivation.
All right, Lucas for Mayor Park Ridge, thanks for the call. Good luck with your race on April 4th. Maddie in Orland Park.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I will be participating on the 4th. As a matter of fact, I'm usually a judge. One of the things about this mayoral race, besides the fact that we need a change, one of the positions that the mayor intends to take over requires an MBA or an MPA, Master's in Public Administration, and Dan McLaughlin's highest level of education is a high school diploma. So when you think about all that's involved in that, that's really getting to be a stretch just because you've been in there for a while. And we've not been given the truth about some of the housing developments in the city, whether you call it public housing or vouchers or Section 8. They're now called Golden Opportunity Vouchers. We haven't been told about the fact that they're borrowing money to give us our rebates. As you said the other day, we went from about $14 million in the late 90s in debt. Now we're balancing the budget with $158 million in debt.
Yeah.
We are definitely due for a change, and I think PCOW is a great change.
Thanks for the call, Maddie. Appreciate that. And boy, isn't that the definition of ruling class politician? After he votes himself. I mean, in order to vote himself the $150,000 salary and come up with this phony baloney rationale that he's consolidating other positions, he also has to exempt himself from the requirements for the positions that he's supposedly filling. Oh, the layers. Welcome to Illinois.
The more you